Your dog watches you every single day, every mood, every habit, every moment when you are not at your best. And here is what nobody tells you. They have figured you out completely. Your fears, your stress, your loneliness, your insecurities, things you have never said out loud to anyone, things you barely admit to yourself. Your dog already knows all of it and has known for a long time. Today I am going to show you 7 weaknesses your dog has noticed about you that you never realized they could see. And by the end of this video, the way you look at your dog is going to change forever. Let's get into it. Weakness 1. They know when you are lying to yourself about how you feel. You are having a bad day, maybe a really bad one, but you are holding it together. You are functioning. You are doing what needs to be done. On the outside, you look completely fine. You have not cried. You have not raised your voice. You have not said a single word to anyone about how you actually feel inside. And then your dog walks over and sits directly in front of you and just looks at you. Or they put their head in your lap without being invited. Or they press their entire body against yours and stay there without moving. They are not doing this randomly. They are not doing this because they happened to walk past and felt like it. They are doing this because they already know. They knew before you fully admitted it to yourself. Here is the science behind it. Every emotional state a human being experiences produces a specific and measurable biochemical response in the body. When you are sad or stressed or overwhelmed, your body releases specific hormones and chemical compounds through your sweat, your breath, and your skin. The concentrations are microscopic, far too small for any human nose to detect, but your dog's nose contains up to 300 million scent receptors compared to your 6 million. The emotional chemistry your body is broadcasting silently is something your dog is receiving loudly and clearly every time they are near you. They do not need you to tell them you are struggling. They do not need to see you cry. They do not need any visible confirmation at all. Their nose already gave them a complete and accurate picture of your internal emotional state before you even sat down, and then they came to you. Not because someone told them to, not because they were trained to respond to your distress, but because you are their person and something in them simply cannot stay away when you are not okay. The dog that sits next to you on your worst days without knowing why they are your worst days is not performing comfort. They are responding to something real they detected in you, something you were trying to hide, something you were maybe even hiding from yourself. They see through every version of fine you put on, every single time. And they show up anyway. Weakness 2. They know who in your life makes you uncomfortable. Pay attention to how your dog behaves around different people in your life, because they are telling you something important that your own social instincts might be too polite or too conditioned to say out loud. When someone enters your space that you genuinely feel safe and comfortable with, your body language shifts in ways so subtle you are not even conscious of them. Your shoulders drop slightly. Your breathing slows and deepens. Your voice relaxes into a lower, more natural register. Muscle tension you were holding releases. Your body recognizes safety and responds to it physically, even when your mind is occupied with conversation. When someone enters your space that makes you uncomfortable, the opposite happens. Shoulders tighten. Breathing becomes shallower. Micro-tensions appear in your jaw, your neck, your hands. Your voice shifts almost imperceptibly in pitch and rhythm. None of this is conscious. Your body is responding to a threat assessment that runs entirely below the level of your awareness. Your dog is reading every single one of these physical signals in real time, and they are combining that physical read with their own direct scent assessment of the person who just walked in. Because the same chemical changes that happen in your body when you feel comfortable or uncomfortable also happen in the bodies of the people around you. Your dog is simultaneously reading your stress response to this person and reading that person's own biochemical signals directly. This is why your dog sometimes reacts to certain people in ways that seem disproportionate or confusing. They are not being randomly aggressive or unfriendly. They are responding to a layered combination of information that includes your body's honest reaction to that person's presence, the reaction you are too socially conditioned to act on yourself. Your dog does not have the social filters you have. They do not care about being polite. They do not care about avoiding awkwardness. They respond to what they actually detect, and what they detect is always the truth beneath the surface of the social situation. If your dog consistently and repeatedly shows discomfort or wariness around a specific person in your life, do not dismiss it as your dog being difficult. Sit with it for a moment, because their read on that person is coming from a place deeper and more honest than your conscious social assessment can reach. They are picking up on something real, and they are usually right. Weakness 3. They know when your confidence is gone. There is a version of you that your dog sees on good days. Shoulders back, voice clear and certain, movement through the house purposeful and relaxed, energy steady and grounded. That version of you produces a specific set of physical and chemical signals that your dog has cataloged and knows deeply after living with you. And then there is the version of you that appears when life has knocked you down, when you have failed at something important, when rejection hit harder than you expected, when you feel small and uncertain and like nothing you are doing is working the way it should. You might not say a single word about any of it. You might carry it completely internally and present a normal face to everyone around you, but the way you move through a room changes. The way you breathe changes. The biochemical signature your body produces changes. Everything about your physical presence shifts in ways that are invisible to the people around you, but are completely visible to your dog. Dogs are extraordinarily sensitive to confidence signals in the humans they live with because confidence and stability in their primary person is directly connected to their own sense of security and well-being. A confident, settled owner means a safe and predictable world. A deflated, uncertain owner introduces a low-level instability into the environment that your dog feels and responds to even when they cannot identify an obvious cause for it. This is why your dog becomes more attentive and more physically close during periods in your life when you are going through something hard, even when you have said nothing about it to anyone around you. They have noticed the shift. They have registered that the confident, settled version of their person has been replaced temporarily by a quieter, heavier version, and their instinctive response is to stay closer, to check on you more frequently, to press against you more consistently, to follow you more carefully from room to room throughout the day. They cannot fix what is making you feel small. They do not understand the specific circumstances of what you are carrying, but they know with absolute certainty that you are not okay, and they respond to that knowledge with the only tools they have: presence, closeness, warmth, staying near the person they love most, and making sure through every physical means available to them that you know you are not alone in it. Your dog sees your confidence leave, and they show up harder for you the moment it does. Weakness 4. They know when you are scared. Even when you are pretending you are not, fear is one of the most chemically distinct emotional states the human body produces. The adrenaline spike, the cortisol surge, the shift in heart rate and breathing pattern, the perspiration response that follows within seconds of a fear trigger. Every one of these physical changes produces chemical outputs that broadcast from your skin and your breath. At concentrations your dog's nose reads with complete clarity and zero effort. You can control your face when you are scared. You can keep your voice steady. You can hold your body still and project complete calm, and nobody in the room will suspect anything. Humans are remarkably good at masking fear socially because social masking is something we have been conditioned and trained to do our entire lives from childhood onward. Your dog is not reading your face. They are not listening to your voice for tremors. They are smelling the adrenaline coming directly off your skin, and there is nothing you can do to control or suppress that signal. It is an involuntary biochemical response, and it is as honest and as uncontrollable as your heartbeat. This has a specific and deeply important consequence in how your dog responds to situations you find frightening. Dogs look to their bonded person for information about how to assess an uncertain or potentially threatening situation. This behavior is called social referencing, and it has been studied extensively and documented clearly in behavioral research. When your dog looks at your face for guidance in an unfamiliar or uncertain situation and your face says calm but your body chemistry says afraid, your dog receives a contradictory signal. And in that contradiction, they almost always trust the chemistry over the expression. This is one of the primary reasons that fear-based responses in dogs are so frequently connected to the fear responses of their owners. A dog whose owner is genuinely frightened of something, another dog, a loud noise, a particular type of person or environment, frequently develops elevated responses to that same stimulus, not because the thing itself signals danger, but because their owner's body consistently signals fear in that context, and the dog trusts that chemical signal as the most reliable and honest information available about the safety of the situation. Your dog knows when you are scared. They know before the situation has fully developed around you. They know when you are hiding it perfectly behind a completely calm exterior. And they adjust their entire read of the world around them based on what your body is honestly telling them you feel, regardless of what your face is showing. You are their most trusted source of information about whether the world is safe, even when you are doing everything you can to tell them it is fine. Weakness, 5. They know when you are lonely. Loneliness is one of the quietest and most private of all human experiences. It is the kind of thing people carry completely alone, sometimes for years on end, without ever saying it directly to another person. You can be surrounded by people every single day and feel it. You can be in a relationship and feel it. You can have a life that looks completely full from the outside and feel it sitting in your chest like something heavy and permanent. You never say it out loud. You barely let yourself think it directly, but your dog figured it out a long time ago. The biochemical and behavioral signals that loneliness produces in a human body are subtle but consistent, and they compound and deepen over time. The specific pattern of cortisol levels that chronic loneliness produces is measurably different from the cortisol pattern of acute stress or situational sadness. The quality of stillness that settles into a person who is not getting enough genuine human connection has a specific character that differs from ordinary rest or relaxation. The way a lonely person moves through their own home, sits in their own space, occupies their own environment, all of it carries signals that your dog's senses are built to detect and interpret. Their response to detecting loneliness in you is one of the most quietly beautiful things they do without you ever asking them to do it. They stay closer during periods of your life when loneliness is present. Not just physically closer in the room, but emotionally closer in the quality and consistency of their attention toward you. They make more frequent contact. They seek your eyes more often. They initiate touch more regularly. They press themselves against you with a gentleness and a consistency that feels different from their regular affectionate behavior, as if something in them has registered that you need more right now, and they have quietly decided to provide it without being asked and without any expectation of anything in return. Research on the relationship between dog ownership and loneliness has consistently shown that dogs provide something that goes beyond simple companionship in the ordinary sense of the word. The bond between a person and their dog activates the same neurological reward pathways as genuine human social connection. Oxytocin releases, cortisol drops. The physiological markers of loneliness actually shift measurably in the presence of a deeply bonded dog in ways that parallel what real human connection produces in the body. Your dog cannot have a conversation with you. They cannot look you in the eye and tell you that they see you and that you matter and that you are not as alone as you feel right now. But they figured out that you were lonely. And every day since they figured it out, they have been showing up in every way available to them to make sure you feel it a little bit less. Weakness 6. They know when you have given up on something. This one is subtle, and it is one that almost no dog owner ever consciously connects to their dog's behavior. But once you see it, you will recognize it immediately because your dog has almost certainly shown it to you before. When a person is actively engaged with life, pursuing something, working towards something, invested in what is happening around them, their energy has a specific quality. There is momentum in the way they move. There is purpose in the way they occupy their time and their space. The body of a person who is engaged and motivated produces different physiological signals than the body of a person who has quietly given up on something they cared about. Giving up produces a specific kind of deflation, not the sharp acute pain of loss or failure, but the slow heavy settling of someone who has stopped trying. The energy drops, the movement slows and loses its direction. The biochemical signature of the body shifts in a way that reflects the internal withdrawal happening beneath the surface. Your dog detects this shift. They have a baseline reading of your normal energy and engagement level, built from months or years of living with you every single day. When that baseline drops significantly and stays down without an obvious physical illness explaining it, your dog notices the discrepancy and responds to it. The response often looks like increased gentleness combined with persistent, low-level checking behavior, coming to sit near you more often, resting their chin on your knee and looking up at your face, staying in the room with you more consistently than usual. They cannot identify what you gave up on. They cannot understand the specific circumstances of whatever dream or goal or relationship or effort quietly ended inside you. But they can feel that something in you went quiet that used to make noise, and they stay close because something in them knows that quiet is not always okay. Your dog notices when you stop fighting for something, and they stay right next to you while you figure out what to do next. Weakness 7. They know when you need to be loved, but will not ask for it. This is the last one, and it is the one that lands the hardest for most people because it is the most universal and the most deeply human weakness on this entire list. There are moments in every person's life when what they need more than anything else is simple and clear. They need someone to be close to them. They need warmth. They need to feel like they matter to someone. They need to be held or touched or simply sat next to by a presence that cares about them. The need is real, and it is physical, and it is urgent in the quiet way that the most honest human needs always are, and yet most people will not ask for it. Not from other people. Because asking for that kind of closeness and comfort feels vulnerable in a way that most adults have been conditioned to avoid. So they sit with it in silence. They carry it alone. They tell themselves they are fine, and they do not reach out and they do not ask, and they do not let anyone see how much they need it in that moment. Your dog sees it anyway. The physiological state of a person who needs connection and comfort but is suppressing that need produces detectable signals. The specific cortisol pattern, the quality of the stillness, the subtle changes in breathing and muscle tension that accompany an emotional need being held and not expressed. Your dog reads all of it with the same clarity they bring to every other emotional state you have ever tried to hide from the world. And their response is the most perfect response that exists for that specific moment. They do not ask if you are okay. They do not wait for you to say something. They do not require you to be vulnerable out loud or to ask for what you need or to admit to anyone, including yourself, how much you are hurting right now. They just come. They press their warm body against yours. They put their head in your lap. They stay there without moving and without any agenda and without any need for you to explain a single thing. They give you exactly what you needed without making you ask for it, without making you feel weak for needing it, without making the moment about anything other than the fact that you needed someone close to you and they came. Your dog has been doing this your entire life together, showing up for the need you would not name, filling the silence with their presence when words from anyone else would have felt like too much, being exactly what you needed in exactly the moments you needed it most and never once asking you to explain why. That is not instinct. That is not training. That is a bond so deep and so specific to you that it has shaped the way they move through every single day of their life. Your dog has been paying closer attention to you than anyone else in your life. Every fear you carry, every moment your confidence disappears, every day you pretend to be okay when you are falling apart inside, every time loneliness sits heavy in your chest and you say nothing about it to anyone, every person who makes you uncomfortable that you smile at anyway, every time you quietly gave up on something you cared about, every moment you needed someone and would not say so. Your dog saw all of it. They always have, and they have never once used any of it against you. They have only ever used it to love you better. Share this with someone who has a dog because every owner deserves to understand how deeply their dog actually sees them every single day. Drop a comment below and tell me which one of these hit you the hardest. I read every single one. Like and subscribe because we have so much more coming for every person who loves their dog the way they deserve to be loved. See you in the next one.